Hello everyone, this is Alex with All City Real Estate. Just wanted to give you some information on BackAgent and how you can utilize it to really set your real estate business up. I've been using it for, well, as long as I've been a realtor. And in the other brokerages I've been at, I've found that it has definitely been able to mold itself and fit itself into the way I run my business. So you go ahead and you'll go to the website, acre.backagent.net. That's if you're with All City Real Estate. And you'll go ahead and hit your username and password, and then click Secure Sign In. This is your start screen. So this has all of the community posts. We'll get into those a little bit later, but I wanted to make sure that we were on track with how to create our transactions. You click on transactions if you want to start a new transaction, which we're going to do. You'll see these are my 3 active transactions, and these items that are needed, we'll talk about those as we discuss the transaction. Okay, you'll click Add Transaction to begin a new transaction. And here you'll want to see and select which property type you are going to be working on. Is it residential, apartment, commercial, or referral only? In this case, we'll do residential, and I'm going to concentrate on a buyer client. So we'll do sale, and we'll select start. Now we'll be able to select whether or not we're working with the buyer or the seller. In this case, we're working with the buyer. I'm going to select a client. I've already put in a test client. Test buyer. They are employed. This is their fake phone number, but it's their real phone number in this case, and their fake email, but it's their real email. So you'll go ahead and select contact. Then you'll create new transaction. At this point, you should have already gotten the information about brokerage services completed, along with the buyer-tenant representation agreement and all other agency agreements. So all you need to do at this point is start working the transaction. This is the transaction summary page. If you're looking for a property in MLS, if you have the MLS number, you can go ahead and select the property. Right now, we're just going to start working on the orange tabs. Those are the things that need to be done before we can transition into from start to showing. So date and info. When you click on the dates and info tab, you'll get the date and info page. This helps produce a calendar that your client will be able to see. So just answer the questions as they come up. When did you first start working with the client? We'll say today, and hit save. Is this a company lead? No, this is a test client, so I'll say no. Be mindful, sometimes BackAgent does like to take a while to save. And will another party get a referral for this transaction? In this case, no. However, if you do select yes, you will be able to select yes and put down or designate a referral fee at the end of the transaction. Now you'll see that we started this client today, April the 7th, and you can change these values throughout the transaction. Okay, now we'll go and select documents. In this transaction type, the only required document is the information about brokerage services. However, we'll be adding additional documents. The easiest way that I've found is to click Add Document, and we're going to add multiple documents. However, if you chose to only add one document at a time, just click where it says Required Now and Attach Document, and then it will ask you to do a file upload or to send to your inbox. But in this case, we're going to add bulk files because I find that that's a lot easier. So you just click Add Document and then Upload Now. Now you can drag and drop all of your files from your folder into here, and it will automatically download. Just make sure you drag and drop them into this box. We're going to manually select the files, so we'll click Upload a File, and now it'll give us our desktop. Just make sure you highlight Desktop. I've already created a test transaction, and I'm going to click Information about Broker Services and the Residential Buyer-Tenant Representation Agreement. Click Open, and it'll start to immediately download. Now it's generating the thumbnails, so you can, in essence, click anywhere on the thumbnail, and it will pull up the information. You'll notice this is definitely a test. I haven't completed much of anything. So I'll go ahead and select all, because I want to select all the pages, and I will create document. In here, now you have to remember which document you're putting in, because unfortunately you don't get the file name. But I know that we were selecting the information about brokers. We were selecting the buyer-tenant representation agreement, so we'll select buyer's representation agreement. All you do is hit Save and Add Another. It will automatically save the document into BackAgent, and if there was anything wrong, then you'll find that the thumbnails no longer say Already Used. But since everything works fine, all 5 thumbnails say Already Used. We'll select all of the information about brokerage services, or in the event that you don't want to upload all the documents, just hit the red X. Okay, but we'll just add this page. These files are selected to be uploaded into BackAgent, so we will select Create Document and Information about Brokerage Services. Click that and then hit Save Document. Now we'll go back to the Documents page since we have no more documents to upload. You'll see that Information about Brokerage Services is now highlighted in blue and says New, and Buyer's Representation Agreement is also highlighted and says New. Now these documents you can share by clicking the documents you wish to share and hit Send and Share. You can send these by email, by fax if you have a fax number associated with BackAgent, or share to Roundtable. I normally share transactions both in Roundtable and in email because I've found that sometimes the receiver, whether it be the client, the title company, any attorneys, or the lender, they're unable to open up the document if it's sent in an attachment, or they can't open up the document in Roundtable. So I send it both ways. But you will also receive a copy of the documents. So in the event that they can't open it, you can forward them the email. So we'll go ahead and hit Send by Email. Now remember, we already have one client. We have one person. So when you click on Name, you'll be able to go to Test Buyer. It already gives you a subject line, so you don't have to worry about typing in your subject. Attached, you will find the information about brokerage and the buyer-tenant agreement. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. Okay, you'll be able to hit Send Now. I'm going to hit Send Now because I want to show you what it's going to say, but we will get a bounce back. It says, please wait. Okay, so it says email sent to testbuyer@nomail@mail.com. So now we'll go into our email and just confirm receipt, as we would be confirming receipt from anybody else. So our e-transaction for buyer Attached, you will find the information about brokerage services and the buyer-tenant representation agreement. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. And those are the shared documents. You can immediately just click on them and pull up the documents. Save them to your computer, but you should already have them saved to your computer. That is how to upload documents into BackAgent. But now you'll see that we have nothing left to do. So when we go back to the summary page, we'll see a check mark at start. Now we'll just move the transaction along to showings. Now the only thing that's needed here is our property. But before we look at our property, let's look at our checklist. These are checklist items that you should be able to keep track of throughout the transaction. So we're in showing, and then we're in start. Get any agency disclosures signed, we've already done that. Receive conditional approval letter, we have yet to do that. So let's go ahead and target that date. So just hit set due date, and then when you click in the select date field, let's go ahead and select that for Monday. We want to make sure that we have a deadline for that. So there's the deadline, and it'll show up on the calendar for you. The buyer may not be able to see it, but you will. Send buyer information about home warranties. I'm going to send that as well on Monday because I want them to make sure that when they get a copy of the home warranty information, they're also going to get a copy of the pre-approval letter that I received from the lender, all in one packet. So, send client information about getting a pre-approval letter. I'm going to set that for today because I'm going to send them information with various lenders that I normally use and give them the opportunity to find their own lenders. To set up an automated property search on the client, you should have already done this if your MLS allows you to, but I select this for today because I've already done it. So I can go ahead, that's on the calendar, but then I mark it as done. I've already sent them the information, so I mark that as done. So the only two things that I have to do are on Monday for this transaction. We're still in showings, so we're going to just keep showings. Now let's go and select the property. Now I currently have a listing, and for test purposes, we're just going to use that listing. So, but when you go into property, just hit set property, and you can find the property using an MLS listing, or if it's not currently an MLS, you can enter the property info by yourself. We'll go ahead and search MLS because it's easier that way. Now I'm associated with the Houston Association of Realtors, but since we have 4 MLSs that we're associated with, we can still pull properties from MLSs that we have listings in, but we can only select our own listings. So I will select Houston Association of Realtors. I know the address is 3125, and I'm just going to hit select. And I see my listing right here, so I'll hit select listing and set property now. You'll notice that now the property displays with the MLS number, the listing agent, and the listing brokerage. Sale price, what type of a property is it, where the subdivision is, and all of the additional information that you might be able to, that you might need to refresh your client on. Now when you click on summary, it shows the property, it shows a reference number. In the event that we need to pull a transaction by reference number, you can always do that, but we'll usually be able to pull it by address. And you'll notice that the name of the transaction changed from test buyer, which is the buyer's name, to the property address. Okay? When we go back into active transactions, you'll see that you are working with a buyer and there's a seller. Okay, so moving on, we have received a contract and we're happy. So now that we've received a contract and we're in preparation for the option period, just move the transaction to contract. In this case, you'll see that we have 2 new contacts that need to be put in. We have 10 dates and more information to put in, and then we have 2 additional documents that need to be put in. So let's go ahead, before we put in the contacts, let's get the dates taken care of, because that'll change our documents. So going to dates, give the page just a moment to load. Okay, first question is, when was the contract executed? We'll say today and hit save. How long is the option period? Just worry about the number of days. In this case it's 10, so we'll say 10 and save. How long does the buyer have for the financing approval? In this case we'll just assume that it's an FHA buyer, so they have 21 days in this case. How is the survey being obtained? Buyer purchasing new. How many days are allowed to obtain the survey? 7, because we want to rush it along. What is the closing date of the contract? We'll be able to select a date, so we'll select May the 26th, just as a date. Now, if you select yes for this question, it will automatically require that you, or BackAgent will automatically require that you upload the intermediary disclosure form. Okay, I'm going to select yes in this case because I want to show you how it changes the documents. What is the ownership status of the property? It's a conventional resale, builder new construction, HUD foreclosure, REO foreclosure, or a short sale. In this case, we're going to do conventional resale. And was the property itself built before 1978? This is extremely important. If you know it, say yes or no, because this will automatically populate the lead-based paint addendum as a required document. So we'll say yes because I know that this property was built in 1977. Is the property subject to an HOA? This one is not. Is it associated with a mud or water district? No, this property is not. Is this property associated or in a flood area? No. What is the contract sales price? We're going to say $115,000. Okay. What type of financing are they getting? We'll do FHA. Now we have a couple of other questions. I'm going to pull up my calculator real quick. 115 times 0.035 equals 4,025. So we need to put down 4,025, so 115 minus 4025. This helps you 110,975. And hit save. That helps you out in the long run. And when was the buyer's loan approved? We can go ahead and hit ignore on that one because we still have 21 days. Okay, what I do from this point is I will manually change all of the rest of the information. So is this a corporate account? No. Is your client a first-time buyer? Yes. What is the client's desired price range? 100,000 to 125,000. Okay. When is your client obligated to move out of the property? Well, we did May 26th. We'll just assume that they have to be out by June 1st. Is your client a licensed real estate agent? No. In this case, no. Is the co-op agent a licensed real estate agent? Yes. We're going to say yes because we also selected that they're in the same brokerage. Okay, so you'll see that all of these have been answered. Now we go to the property. Now we won't have much to do on the property at this point because we don't have title open. How is the home inspection being scheduled? No, it has not. So we'll just go ahead and select no. In most cases, I won't select no. I'll just wait until we have the home inspection scheduled before I select yes. Has your client set up a home warranty? No. Lockbox code, in this case it's Supra, so I just type Supra to be on my guard. And is the property vacant? Yes. No, it's not, but for this test it is. So now we have that information done. Most of the financials are already done. Okay, and now you'll see we have our calendar being created. Now we'll get contacts. You'll notice that those 2 documents we needed are now 5. So we'll add seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We don't need to add contact info for them. We will need to add a co-op agent. So we'll add a co-op agent. I'll just use myself. Okay, I'll just use myself. Make sure that you select real estate, and I'm not going to save it as a community contact because this is a test. Okay, so these are our contacts. I'm the buyer's agent and the listing agent. We have a test buyer, we have test sellers. Now, if you decide to have an agent coordinator, a transaction coordinator, this is where you will add that transaction coordinator. I will normally find myself. That way I can keep track of the transaction from the buyer's perspective and the title agent. So we'll just select Kelly McLaughlin and hit select. Now vendor, we'll do home inspection. I don't remember his phone number, and inspector at I don't remember.com. Okay, and email address is invalid because I used an apostrophe. Okay, we'll hit add. So we have all of our vendors associated. Now we do our documents. We'll notice that the residential contract is required, addendum for lead-based paint, intermediary notice, seller's disclosure, and third-party financing addendum. So we'll go back into Add Documents, Upload Now, and Upload File. I will select all the documents and unselect the documents that I've already uploaded, in this case, and hit Open. Now, we'll go ahead and you can start uploading documents right into BackAgent before all the thumbnails have been generated. So we're uploading the contract, the 1 to 4 family, and we'll just select residential contract. Save and add another. The non-realty items addendum, I'm going to show you this. You may need to stop and rewatch this a couple of times, but because that wasn't required. So select non-realty items addendum, click create document, and under the addenda, you will see non-realty items addendum. If it's not in there, or you have another addendum that you need to put in and that isn't included, then you'll click on other, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, addendum for seller's disclosure for lead-based paint. Third-party financing addendum. Okay, we've taken care of all of the 2 documents that we need, however, or that we have, but we're still waiting on 2. So as we continue, and we can continue, we'll need to get the intermediary notice, and we'll need to get the seller's disclosure notice. Now I'm going to add a document out of our test. We'll just select the non-realty items addendum again and upload that. And select all and create document. Now I'm going to add it as an intermediary notice because it's a document. And the seller's disclosure notice, I'm going to request an exemption on this. I'm going to request because seller never lived in the property. Excuse me. Okay, and now we see that it's exempt. Now our site survey is recommended, but it's not required. So we can go on to pre-closing. Okay, now we have dates and info. That's the only thing that we need. All we need to do is add the date that the transaction is actually being closed. And we will do May the 26th. Okay, we're ready to submit. Now you can go to post-closing, okay, and then the document is, all you need is the closing disclosure or HUD-1 statement. Now we didn't take care of our checklist, but we will have, as you transition the transaction into the various phases, you will have more items come up on your checklist. That way it always keeps you on track. Now, what does your client see? That will be in another video. We'll go back to pre-closing and we'll click submit because I'm not going to upload a HUD-1 statement. We can get the funding request the way it is, as it is now. So we have a GF number that will populate once we have one. Sale commission, we'll do 3%. Update. Broker split, if there is one, you'll just add it in. It'll automatically calculate, and then you hit create funding request. I feel confident because we have to modify several things, but we'll go and continue. to the next step. And I'm doing this because I want you to understand you have multiple opportunities to change something before you finally submit. So, is the property information for this transaction correct and verified? If it is, then yes. Are the contacts for this transaction all filled in and correct? Yes. Are all the dates and information you supplied for this transaction correct? Yes. Are your documents all separated, attached, and labeled correctly? I should hope so. Are all the attached contracts correctly signed and executed? I'm going to select yes. Here we'll be able to determine whether or not it's table funding or standard funding. We'll hit select table funding and then we'll submit the transaction. I'm not going to submit the transaction because I'm actually going to delete this transaction because I don't want to bombard anyone at the office with superfluous transactions. But once we have a transaction that is completed and you hit submit, it will automatically go back to the broker, and Kevin will have the ability to go through every document that you have completed and uploaded and review it. Once it's been reviewed, then he will be able to generate your CDA. And then once he generates your CDA, he'll also be able to send it to title and email you a copy of it. You will get a notification in BackAgent that says that you have been reviewed and documents have been, and your funding request has been received, and your CDA has been generated. That will automatically come into the transaction, so you will still be able to have a copy of the CDA, even if Kevin isn't able to send it to you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know that I'm new with All City, but I do cover the Houston Bay Area. And you can reach out to me either through BackAgent or email me directly at alexstroud.realtor@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call or send me a text message at 713-907-0641. Now, to close out and cancel out the transaction, I'm going to no, I just need to cancel. No, just cancel. No, just cancel. Cancel now. So the transaction has been canceled. Okay, thank you. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.